Hey everybody, I'm back much earlier than last week, okay? I'm trying to get better, but y'all already know what I'm here for. I'm here to give you my take, my review on the haves and the have-nots. This is season 5, episode 18, titled Sugar Mama, okay? And y'all already knew they was referring to Veronica, okay? It could have been Catherine, but she just got a whole lot of stuff going on right now, okay? Veronica got time, okay? She's alone, okay? Whatever. But anyways, before I even dig into that, for my first time viewers, if this is your first time on this channel and you're not a subscriber, what you doing? You wasting time. You may as well go ahead and click that subscribe button. I promise to give you great commentary on some of your favorite shows, just like this one. And for my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your support. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And like this video. Okay, y'all. Anyway, so let's jump into the review. Okay, so starts off where it left off with Benny and the owner of the bar wrestling back and forth. And remember, at the end of last episode, there were shots fired. Now, I knew the likelihood of somebody like actually getting shot was slim to none because that would be anticlimactic, right? So if anything, like I thought maybe the owner would like accidentally get shot and then Benny would look like it was like a double homicide, but nothing happened. Benny just pushed the owner to the ground and then he got control of the gun and then the roles were reversed and Benny is now pointing the gun at the owner. At this point, the owner's whole attitude is switched up, okay? It ain't no fun when the other person got the gun. So he's like, I'm sorry, don't shoot. And I'm like, dude, you was just big and bad when you had the gun. You wasn't trying to listen to him. But whatever, Benny is still pointing the gun at him. He's like, calm down. I want you to know I did not do this. I did not do this. And I'm like, Benny, you better hurry up and get out of there, okay? Because if somebody walk in right now, you look like a straight murderer, okay? So Benny hurries up, puts the gun down, and then runs out. And I'm like, dude, now your fingerprints are over this gun. Like, the guy can say that you stole his gun from him, shot him, and then threatened him. I mean, the story could go so many ways, but let's hope this works out in Benny's favor. Okay, whatever. So now we have Candace. Candace is walking through the hotel. She's kind of like, looks like she's like being like sneaky, but remember, Oscar is still in the same hotel, so she has to be low key. So RK, the bartender, is like sneaking up behind her, kind of catches her off guard. And so he tells her, we need to talk. It's Rocky. Rocky gave you up. So she's like, okay, this is important. So she calls him into her room and is trying to get like the full details. So basically RK tells her that he saw Rocky talking to Oscar. He didn't know Oscar's name at the time, but he did know that Oscar is the guy that Candace had Rocky take pictures of his computer. So clearly there's something going on. They're conspiring with one another. This was great of RK to do. He's pretty smart because he sees that like, okay, Candace then had a big break. She's on the winning team. Maybe I need to be on the winning team, okay? So whatever the case, he like after a while when he's talking, he realizes like she must be hiding from Oscar because she has on all black and a black hat and she's been real incognito in the hotel. So he catches on to that. Okay, another clue that makes him a little bit more clever than people like maybe Gia. Okay, so then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, RK starts unbuttoning his shirt and undressing, and she is like, boy, what are you doing? And he was like, well, I want to see what all the fuss is about. Like, I want to see what all this hoopla is about. How you just be like making people like basically give up their whole fortunes. Like, let me test it out. And she's like, little boy, are you serious? And RK is like overly confident, but he's not just like a yes man, like a little lapdog to Candace. And I think she kind of likes that and respects that to an extent. So she doesn't even like go off on him and all that. She's like, boy, you better calm down, okay? That's not about to go down. And he's like, well, can you teach me? Please teach me. Like, I'm ready. And like, she even has him like show his package and all that. And she like, boy, you ain't ready yet. Okay. You got some more maturing to do. But she does say, well, as a matter of fact, since you are getting undressed, you should really like check out some of the older women at the bar. As a matter of fact, I got a woman just for you, referring to Veronica. I'm going to give you the address. I'm going to text it to you, send you to her house, and you need to take care of business, okay? She got a ton of money. And so RK is like, this really better be a woman, okay? If it's a dude, then I'm turning around and coming back because I'm not doing that no more, okay? It's not the right price. And so she's like, it is a woman. And he's like, okay, I'm just telling you. Just send me the address. Do I need to drug her? Candace is like, no, she too old. Like, something might happen to her. Don't drug her. Just, put your little charm on. So he like walks out like he's on a mission. Okay, so then we see Jim walk up to Oscar downstairs, same hotel, and Oscar is sitting like not at the bar, but like in the bar area where the tables are. Jim comes up to him. Jim is still hot, okay? He's pissed off to the highest level of festivity because he feels as though Oscar has played him and he needs to get him his money. So at this point, Oscar explains to him that Candace must have switched the account some type of way, and he's extremely apologetic at this point, but Jim is furious. Like, what? Candace Young? Like, again? Like, I don't have time for this, okay? This is the thing. You're going to get my money. Oscar says, no, I'm definitely going to get your money. He said, no, you're going to get my money now, okay? Because clearly you don't know me. And he's like grabbing Oscar's shoulder. Oscar is like, dude, get your hands off me. Jim is like, okay, you don't know me, but what I'm going to tell you is that I'm giving you 24 hours or both you and Candace will be dead. And I'm thinking, Jim, do you ever really do any of the killing yourself? Because he used to have Mama Rose and the rest of the Malones do the killing for him. But they're not on good terms anymore. So it would be interesting to see Jim get his hands dirty. But whatever the case, he laughs about it like this like evil laugh and gets up and walks away. Okay, so now we have Mitch. Mitch is standing outside of Benny's house, and he looks like super irritated to the max. Like, dude, you got me standing out here. You caught me down here. You want to come up to me and say, what's up? You caught me down here. Now, what do you want? Apparently, Mitch was a little irritated because he was on a date with a hot little tenderoni, and Benny then like called him out in the middle of the night to come and talk to him. Okay, so at this point, Benny explains to him that something bad happened. And Mitch says, all right, so are you going to tell me what happened? So Benny is just like, and he starts scratching his head. And those are like little nervous cues, right? So Benny says, I went to give your uncle that money back. And all of a sudden, Mitch just jumps to all kinds of conclusions, and he cuts Benny off, and he's like, I told you so. What I tell you? What I tell you? And I told you you'd be running back to me, calling me for help. What, did he threaten you? Like, did he say he was going to break your legs? Did he threaten your family? Benny is like, hold up. Let me talk. Like, it's none of that. Just let me talk. Okay. And so Mitch is like, okay, so what happened? Benny just straight out says, like, basically, there's no easy way to put it. He's dead. And Mitch is like, hold up. Holla. What did you say? And Benny is like, listen, I wanted to come and talk to you about this first because I didn't do this, okay? I need you to know that I did not do this. So Mitch is like he just like heard like Benny speaking another language. Like, what are you talking about? So he's like, whoa. Like, literally, what are you talking about? So Benny says, I went down to the bar. Next thing you know, I look to the left, look to the right. He is face down in his own blood. And he's bleeding. So Mitch is like, my uncle Benny? And so he's like, dude, what did you do to my uncle? So, like, at this point, Mitch is getting loud. He's emotional. He just found out a family member died, a family member of his mob family at that. So the whole city about to be up in smokes. So at this point, Hanna wakes up because she hears them talking out loud because it's like a yelling match at this point. So Mitch is like, I told you not to go down there. I told you don't go to that bar. He is like super pissed off. He can't even look at Benny right now. And Benny is not trying to argue back because he understands. So Mitch gets in his car like disappointed, disgusted, ashamed, confused, and leaves. Okay, so then Benny goes into the house. Of course, we already know Hanna is super nosy, especially when it comes to Benny. So Hanna decides to come out of the room and talk to Benny. Now, she calls him Benny most of the time when stuff is chill, but y'all know when she start calling him Benjamin, she mean business, okay? So she's like, Benjamin, what did you do? And she's like, I heard everything, so you may as well tell me, okay? It's that money, right? It's that money. I felt it in my spirit. And y'all know, Black parents especially, like, that's their favorite line. Like, I felt it in my spirit, like something was off. Whatever. So she automatically assumes that it's Candace. Like, was that money from Candace? No, hold on, chill. So this is when Benny finally speaks up and he's like, no, it's from Mitch. We borrowed it from his family, da da da, for this tow truck. And his family is the mob. And Hanna is like, say what, come again? And he's like, look, I tried to return it to him, but the dude was dead. And he basically explained the rest of the situation to Hanna and like proved that he was innocent. So Hannah's first reaction is like, you need a lawyer. And so Benny is like, okay, I'm gonna call Veronica. And I'm like, Benny, do you not know that you are at the top of her hit list right now? Like, there is no way you calling Veronica would be like, you may as well go and get the keys and lock yourself in jail and throw them, because now she has another crime that she can pin on you. So why in the world would you do that? But whatever. Hanna was thinking the same thing. Hanna is like, no, I'm going to call Catherine, okay? That's my BFF, okay? I call her for everything, okay? And so Benny is like, no, I got myself into this mess. I'm going to get myself out of this mess. I'm a man, rah, 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 beat my chest. I got this. You don't have it, Benny, but okay. And so, like, Hanna is, like, telling him, no, don't call her. Why won't you listen to me? You never listen to me. And I'm like, I don't know why you keep wasting your breath, because Benny is always going to do what he wants to do, even if it's stupid. So, whatever. Benny is like, I'm going, okay, so bye. So, he leaves out. So, then we see Veronica sitting on her couch, sipping away at whatever is in her cup, okay? And remember, at this point, Derek has left her, like, denied her body and everything. And she was at the hotel, like, basically crying and drunk to Candace, trying to plot on David and Erika. So now she's just a mess. She's at her house with another glass that she doesn't need. So she hears a knock at the door. So she assumes it's Derek, like, oh, he done came to his senses. He know he can't resist all of this, okay? So when she opens the door, RK acts like he knows Veronica, okay? He comes in with that, like major sense of confidence and just walks into her house like, oh, yeah, this is nice. And Veronica is like, hold up, wait, why would you just walk into my house? Wait, who are you? But you can tell she's kind of turned on by his overly confident demeanor. So RK tells her that Candace sent him over. So Veronica thinks this is funny. Like, she sent this little boy, this child over here. I told her not to do this. And so then at this point, when Veronica is taking him as a joke, he tells her that he needs a drink and grabs her cup out of her hand and takes a sip. I think that was a turn on for Veronica too, because she's like, oh, you're not scared of me. And usually she deals with like Benny, who he's younger, but like he basically like kind of like gives into everything she says because like she has the upper hand. So this guy is challenging her, so she likes that. So the next thing you know, she's like, boy, how old are you? And he was like, old enough to drink. And then Veronica is still laughing like, oh my gosh, she sent a little boy over here. He's like, actually, I'm 25. But he's all smooth with his charm and everything. And she's like, wow, because I have a son that's a little older than you. Speaking of Jeffrey. And so RK was like, oh, okay, well then this should be fun for you. And she like thinks this is so funny. So she keeps referring to him as son. So she's like, okay, son. He says, man. She's like, okay, whatever. So then he tells her, you should turn some music on, and starts like unbuttoning his shirt. And at this point, Veronica is still talking stuff. But when he gets like to button it all the way down, she starts seeing skin and abs. Like Veronica was stuck for a minute, okay? Like, you know, she's not speechless that often in the show, especially when it comes to like a man, because she didn't been with a lot of them. But she's speechless, and she's like, oh, well, this should be fun then. And so RK was like, I need another drink. Where's the kitchen? Is it in the kitchen? Super confident. And of course, like, so that scene fades out. So we know they about to get cozy, okay? So we have Erika and David. When we first see them laying in the bed, they are literally holding hands in the bed like they are like a 50-year married couple. Like they are like strong in love. And I'm like, I think Erika really is falling for him. She's just scared of Candace. And I really think that David is going to find out about who Erika truly is soon. If not on the next episode, then within at least the next 2 episodes. But whatever the case, they hear like knocking, banging on the door. They assume it's Veronica, of course, because she like terrorizes them. So they run downstairs. When David opens up the door, Jim storms in because Jim is hot, okay? He mad. He's coming over there to tell his buddy about how Candace has stolen all of his money again. And Oscar and Candace are probably in on it together, and they're trying to play him, okay? So then like David is telling him like, calm down. Then Jim looks back at the steps, notices Erika, and was like, what? Like, do you have some whore here? And I'm like, well, actually, he does. But so David is like, excuse me? Like, no, she is not a whore, okay? And so Jim is like, okay, I'm sorry. You don't look like a whore. You look great, actually. And Erika is like, okay, well, I'll be upstairs, honey, playing her little role, right? And so she runs upstairs looking for her phone. You already know she about to call Candace, okay? Because she never knows if she's going to get caught in this moment as well. So then we see David. He's sticking up for his woman. He told Jim, like, no, you need to apologize. And Jim is like, I'm sorry, okay, but what is your problem? And so this David tells him, what is your problem? So Jim is like, Candace is the problem, explains how she took everything. Oscar is in on it. Why would you refer this Oscar guy to me? David is like, dude, I'm telling you, like, I can trust him. I've worked with him for years. Like, he would not do that to you because that would be like turning on me. Like, I trust him. Don't worry. I'm going to call him because we're going to get all this straightened out. Okay, so at this point, Erika is upstairs, okay? She has the door cracked open, which I thought was kind of stupid because David could come upstairs and hear her talking on the phone, but whatever. She has the door cracked open because she's eavesdropping, and at this point, she's on the phone with Candace and is warning her about everything that's going on and how Jim just walked in and they're connecting her to Oscar and all of this stuff. So Candace is like, basically like, girl, bye, don't call me like unless you have like something serious. Like they just got pieces of the puzzle, but they don't know how to connect them all together. So click, don't call me with foolishness. So at this point, David called Oscar and he basically got clarity from him as to what happened. So David gets off the phone and tells Jim that Oscar, the money was wired to the Crier company, but it was the Crier company that was another account at the same bank that they all bank at. And the banker that set it up was Lloyd Bowman. Now remember, Lloyd Bowman has had like business relations with Jim when he had Candace like sign for her mortgage or something, and then basically like she signed like her rights away to like the tow yard in the house. Like he works closely connected to Jim. So Jim calls Lloyd and he's super rude to him, like telling him, get up out your sleep. You're fat, sloppy, and lazy. Get downstairs to your computer because I need you to look into this for me, okay? Did you transfer money to a Crier company? Was money transferred out of that account? And then he was like, yes, it was transferred. He said, well, why would you do that? And he was like, because Mrs. Harrington told me to. At this point, David is listening as well. They both are confused because how are Candace and Veronica connected? They're like oil and water. They do not mix at all. So they're not putting the pieces of the puzzle together. So he says, okay, and then that account was closed. So then where was the money transferred to? And then the banker told them a personal account. And that personal account, the owner of that account is Benjamin Young. So they were able to put all those pieces of the puzzle together. And the banker apologizes because he should have noticed the name Candace Young because of their past history. And he didn't catch it because he was just taking Veronica's word for it. So at this point, they are all confused. He gets off the phone with Lloyd after he says some more humiliating things to him. So then back upstairs to Erika, still eavesdropping. She calls Candace again. She's trying to get in Candace's good graces. So Candace is irritated, but Erika is like, no, you're going to want to hear this part. Okay. So she tells them that they're talking about her and Veronica and that Jim just called a banker named Lloyd and they just told them that the money was in Benny's account and everybody's connected. So at this point, Candace is probably like freaking out, like, oh my gosh, they have connected the pieces of the puzzle. So she just gets off. She's ready to get off the phone. She's like, okay, bye. Like, she got to handle business. Erika's like, wait. Like, I'm trying to get in your good graces. Like, I'm trying to prove myself to you again. And so I want you to know that I'm sorry. And Candace is like, girl, you will never get grace from me, okay? I will make your life miserable, okay? Just shut your mouth and tell me what they're still saying. Keep eavesdropping. Okay, so while she's eavesdropping, David and Jim are downstairs, and David is saying, like, none of this makes any sense. And then Jim even questions David, like, did you know anything about this? Jim doesn't know who to trust at this point. So that's when, like, Erika tells Candace, updates her on the final details that the money is in Benny's account. So Candace straight up hangs up on her, okay? She got to handle business because they're closing in on her at this point. Okay, back to the Harrington estate. So Veronica and RK, at this point, he done got him a drink. She done got her another drink. And she got her legs across him on the couch. They are cuddled up. And she is ready for this young thing, okay? And so she's still sipping. And she's like, man, I like this bachelorette life. Like, I should have got divorced a long time ago. And so RK is like, divorced? Oh, well, he must have been taking care of you real good because this house is nice. And so Veronica's like laughing, like, boy, bye. I am my own woman. And so RK is like, oh, so men depend on you? So Veronica says, oh, so you looking for a sugar mama? Hence the title of the episode. And she's like, well, you can keep looking then. And RK is like, yeah, you say that now, but just wait. And she's like, okay, keep looking. And I'm like, Veronica, you've already kind of been a sugar mama. Like, you didn't give Benny actual cash, but you were like giving him like free expensive services, okay? You were giving him attorney services for free and always getting him out of trouble, yet he just had to give you his body in return. He didn't want to do it every time. He just did it because his flesh is real weak when it comes to any woman, and he just felt like he owed you something. Whatever the case, speaking of Benny, there is knocking at the door, okay? So Veronica goes, opens it up, then shuts it as soon as she opens it and sees Benny's face. Well, Benny pushes the door open and comes inside. Benny is like, I gotta talk to you, okay? This is serious. And I'm in trouble. So Veronica says, no, I don't want to talk to you. And Benny is like, no, seriously, we have to talk, and we have to talk in private. So RK is like, well, guess that's my cue to go. You guys can talk and have your time to each other. And Veronica is like, no, that's your cue to go upstairs and wait for me. Like, you already know what's going down. And so when he starts walking by, Veronica grabs him. And I can't even say that she passionately kissed him because it wasn't passionate. It was like real, like nasty, like almost kind of like forced. Like she was trying to make Benny jealous, but Benny is not jealous because he doesn't have actual feelings for Veronica. That's what she's getting confused. But whatever the case, RK goes upstairs. So then Veronica asks Benny, like, what do you want? He's like, I'm really in deep now. I need a lawyer. So Veronica says, okay, tell me. So he starts to like tell the story, and she's like, no, tell me that you're sorry, okay? After everything that you did to me and you humiliated me and the stuff that went down on my white couch with Melissa, tell me that you're sorry. And then he's like, okay, I'm sorry. She's like, are you sorry because you're really sorry or because you're in trouble? And he was like, no, I really am sorry. So she's like, okay, well, what is it? So then he proceeds to tell her everything that happened, which I think is going to come back around to bite him in the butt. Okay, so then RK is upstairs while Veronica is downstairs, like, talking to Benny. He is snooping through all her stuff, okay? He is like a kid in the candy store. He looks through her drawers, see expensive jewelry, earrings, bracelets, watches. He took a few pairs and put them in his pocket, and I'm like, dude, Veronica is not the person you do this with. She's the type of person to have a mental inventory of everything she owns. She will catch you. Speaking of mental notes, he noticed that Veronica has a safe in her house, took mental note of that because he's going to come back for that safe and whatever is inside. So at this point, he's like, man, Candace done set me up real good, lays back on Veronica's bed and was like, oh, like, I'm about to take her for everything she owns. Like, I'm about to get all her money. Talking to himself. Okay, so now, back to another hotel in another city and state, we have Landon and Charles. So Charles has been looking stressed out since his boo been gone, okay? So he talks to Landon like they're best buds. So he's like, Landon, I've been thinking. Okay, what if I move back to Savannah before the inauguration? Of course, Candace is in Savannah. So Landon is kind of irritated. He's like, what? Okay, is this because of Candace? And Charles is like, well, not entirely, but that would be like one of the perks that she's there. And Landon is like, I'm going to be honest, I don't think you should do it. So Charles, aka Great Value Obama, is like, well, why not? And so Landon like straight out says, like, she is a powder keg looking for a spark. Like, she's not good for you. And Charles is like, okay, but I like her. And I'm like, do you like her? Or is it a little bit more than that? Because you doing a lot. Like, you're in deep like with her at this point. So Charles says, but I like her. So can we make it happen? Like, it's the only way that I can see her without like any suspicion. So Landon, he just abides by what he's told. So he says, okay. Then so Charles asks, where is she staying? So Landon tells him, oh, the same hotel. Okay. So then at this point, Landon tries to take off Charles's shoes for him. Landon shoots his shot every chance he gets, and it always goes unnoticed. So Charles is like, you ain't got to do that. Don't do that. And Landon tells him, like, you're going to have to get used to this. When you become president, like, everybody is going to be doing everything for you and, like, trying to take off your shoes and everything. And so Charles is like, but I'm good, though. Like, you don't have to do all that. And so they start to have, like, little small talk and all that. Landon offers to, like, stay up with Charles and have drinks with him. And Charles is like, no, I'm good. I'm going to go to sleep. He always declines his offer. Okay, so now back to Benny and Veronica. So he finishes telling her the story as to what happened at the bar and how it looks bad on him. Okay, so then Veronica is just like shaking her head, sits back on her couch. She's like, you just get into just like way too much crap for me. Like, it's way too much. And so Benny is like, but can you help me? And Veronica is like, of course I can. I'm the best. Why would you even ask that question? He's like, okay, so what do I need to do? He's real serious and focused. And she's like, oh, well, you know what I like? And he's like, come on, I'm serious. She's like, okay, me too. Go ahead, take your clothes off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Veronica, like, it's a dude upstairs waiting on you. And that's the same thing that Benny said, like, oh, boy is upstairs waiting on you. And she was like, okay, well, maybe I want both of you. Men do it all the time. And he's like, well, stop comparing yourself to men. Like, actually, we shouldn't even be having this conversation. I am dead serious. And she's like, okay. Like, she asked him a few questions, like, was there a camera there, yada, yada, yada. You know what? Just go home and go to bed. The police haven't even come to you at this point. Go home and go to bed. I will get this taken care of. And I'm thinking, is she setting him up? Like to send him home and then like have the police come and arrest him because he confessed to her? Or is it really like client lawyer privilege? I don't know. I don't know whether to trust Veronica at this point, so we'll see. And Benny even questions it, but he ends up leaving and thanks Veronica for like always being there for him and helping him in spite of their past differences. Okay, so at this point, Veronica, she like walks upstairs to RK, okay? So now we have Hanna. Of course, Hanna was going to run to Catherine for Catherine to rescue her. So Hanna starts talking too much because as soon as she comes inside, she's like, Catherine is worried, like, what is going on? And Hanna literally tells her, like, everything that happened with Benny that night. And while she's talking, Catherine is connecting the dots in her head, like, okay, so this is the murder that Wyatt actually committed that we want to cover up. But now it looks like Benny did it, so this could technically work in their favor, but her and Hanna are friends, and they've been in this situation before when Wyatt ran over Benny, and Catherine knew that, and basically she tried to figure out a way for both of them to come out like on the good side. So she paid for all of Benny's medical expenses, but then they covered it up so that Wyatt wouldn't go to jail, and they said someone else did it. So I think these same wheels are rotating in Catherine's head. At this point, like Catherine tells her that she will call Marty in the morning, and Hanna, she ends up like leaving because Jim walks into the door. Marty is the other lawyer, but Jim walks into the door. Whenever Jim comes around, Hanna don't want to deal with his foolishness, so she just says bye and leaves. So when she leaves, Jim is like, what is she talking about? And this is after he told Catherine that Candace took the money. Catherine was like, ugh, I can't stand number 9. And so he asked her, like, what was Hanna talking about? Because the money is actually in Benjamin Young's account or whatever. And so, of course, Catherine is still on Hanna's side, so she cannot like give away Benny because that would be basically like giving a golden ticket to Jim because he can just go say that Benny killed the guy. So she lies to him and tells him that like Catherine came over, that Hanna came over to talk to her about Benny getting a DUI and how he's arrested and he's in jail right now. So you can't even talk to to Benny because he's under arrest. Okay, so that calms Jim down for the moment. Now, final scene, Jeffrey, okay? Jeffrey, remember, Justin threatened Jeffrey before he left to go see Wyatt, but Jeffrey was like, I'm a grown man, you're not going to control me. So he shows up at Wyatt's house, and he comes in and he means business, like, Wyatt, I'm happy to see you, but you have to go to a facility. And Wyatt is like, dude, are you ambushing me? Like, no, like, I'm not going to no facility. He's like, yes, you are. I'm doing this because I care about you. I love you as a friend. You need help. You are a danger to yourself. The people are downstairs. I already told them. They are waiting for you outside. So Wyatt is like, no, I'm not going. Like, I killed a man at a bar. Jeffrey doesn't believe him. And he's like, okay, well, if you really did kill the man, then call the police and tell them it was self-defense. Like, trust me, I know this firsthand, okay? Just call the police and tell them that. Wyatt is like, no, they're not going to believe me. Same thing Jeffrey was thinking with, like, him and Candace and Quincy. So Jeffrey is like, trust me, you need to call the police. But if you don't want to call the police, well, then you can tell the facility workers when they come and get you. And so Wyatt is like, no, I'm not going. So Jeffrey gets on his phone right there and was like, y'all can come up here and get him. Like, he's not going to walk down willingly. So Wyatt is like, what are you doing? Like, you're no different from my parents. There's a knock at the door. So they automatically assume it's the facility workers. No, it's Justin. Like, I knew Justin was going to follow Jeffrey. So Justin walks inside and Justin says, like, I was just making sure that you were okay. And I heard him yelling. So at this point, Jeffrey is like, you were not even supposed to be here. So there's another knock at the door and it's the facility workers. workers. They literally had to wrestle with Wyatt to pull him out. And he is like grabbing onto the door and everything. So at this point, Jeffrey is like, don't fight it, Wyatt. This is good for you. Don't fight it. So when they leave out, Justin is like, I don't know. And Jeffrey is like, you don't know anything, okay? You shouldn't have come here. I told you not to come here. And Justin is like, I just wanted to make sure. Jeffrey wouldn't even let him finish his sentence. He's like, no, go home. Just go home. And then Jeffrey is like, I just don't want to see you. So Justin was like, please don't say that. Please don't say that. You know that makes me crazy. At this point, Jeffrey is yelling, no, go home. I'm sick of looking at your face. So Justin is like, my home is wherever you are, okay? This is when the crazy thin line between love and hate starts coming out. And at that point, Justin pulls out 2 guns out of his pocket, points one at Jeffrey, one at himself, and I'm like, oh, Lord Jesus, Lord, come by here. I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. So Justin, he gonna have to die. Like, he's a problem, okay? Or else he gonna kill Jeffrey. And can the show go on without Jeffrey? I suppose it can, but I don't really want Jeffrey to die. But anyways, he tells him, if I can't have you, nobody will. And then the episode cuts out. So we shall see what happens next week. As usual, like, comment, and subscribe. If you got this far and you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.